Hello and a very warm welcome to this webinar, whether you're watching it live or if you're watching on the replay. In a minute, we're going to delve into how passionately I feel that if we can learn to work in all three strands of playing areas, which I'll talk about in a moment, that it can really empower us, enrich us as a musician, and it helps us whether we're working in each of the three strands, if we're playing from music, or if we're working by ear, or if we're improvising. So I want to talk to you tonight during this webinar, when you're watching it the day or the morning or the evening or tonight, whatever. I would love to now show you how I believe in these three strands and how the 12 flourishing shapes, which I'm also going to share with you, really can help us with learning to move between those three different strands confidently. There are different strands for people who have, everyone has a superpower is by feeling, or generally most people have a superpower. And when we delivered this live, the group who are here live, I got them to a poll, and just over 50% of people said they liked working from sheet music best. I think it was about 17% of people said that they liked working by ear best, and about 23% of people said they liked to improvise, and then 1% didn't have a preference. I hope I've got that about right. And so it's really fascinating how everybody has a superpower usually, and then if we nurture the other areas, then it can just help us with that confidence when I'm playing and that rounded sort of musicianship skills, and it allows you to play with anyone in any setting and be and have go-to ideas that you can sort of fall back to with confidence. And the 12 foundation shapes are really a big part, I believe, of being able to pull together these three strands. So I'm going to share with you the 12 shapes in this webinar, and I'm also going to be sharing with you the how you can use these different three strands to sort of empower yourself in your playing. So we're going to jump in. I'm just showing you up on the screen, if you're watching the screen, a few of the feedbacks that we've had, including Jane here saying that the shapes has changed how she looks at a new piece. That Demetra said here that the fact that we teach reading music by ear and improvisation in the Harp School is slightly unusual because most teachers will focus on one. Ethna saying that the 12 shapes really have helped her playing. And Judy here saying that the 12 foundation shapes have by far been the most useful tool at improving her harp playing. So I am excited to share this with you. And what do all these people who you've just read those little testimonials from have in common? They've all attended either a webinar similar to this, or maybe this webinar, or something very like this one, or maybe they have attended one of my Harp School classes. So I'd like to share with you a bit more on that. And it really does get results. You can see here Kim saying that learning the 12 shapes has definitely improved ability to properly place the fingers on the string. So if you're very good at placing already, congratulations. If it's something you find challenging, then this honestly will help you with your placing. And helping, Kim is recognizing here that there is further to go, that we get fluent in some of the shapes, and then there are often more that we have to work on as we go through. But these 12 flourishing shapes that I'm going to show you, you then adapt around them, and that really it helps us with the building blocks of what we're doing. So what are we going to do? We're going to look at secret number one, how memorizing just a few simple shapes on the harp is going to allow you to unlock your ability to play with ease in each of those three strands. So those of you who have superpower in one, if you're sitting there thinking, yeah, my superpower is reading, then this is going to help you unlock your ability to improvise and play by ear, and as I say, in all the other ways that can be thought of. Secret number two, doesn't matter what your skill level is, this can help boost your confidence like 100%. It has for me. I've seen it work for other people too, and it's just unlocks doors. It really does. And if you only have a little time to practice, because let's face it, life does get in the way, then I would like to share with you two powerful and simple hacks that you can use to help you get results quickly. Okay, so I'm going to share with you what I believe is, well, this whole three strands approach and using these 12 shapes, very, very powerful when learning and playing the harp. And so if this is okay, I'm going to ask if you're going to be happy for me to give you 10 minutes, give me 10 minutes of time at the end, just to talk to you about my special offer that's designed to help you even more, and is only going to be available for those that have been through this presentation. So is that okay? Can I have a yes in the chat if you're happy for me to, at the end of this session, share with you a little bit of detail on that offer? Yes, says Kirsten. Anybody else? Yes, says Kimberly. Hooray. Anybody else going to say yes? Yes, Miss Mally. Yes, it's Dimitri. Yes, it's Sandy. Yes, it's Mary. Okay, brilliant. And they're keeping coming in. Thank you so much, everyone. Okay, let's do this. So why is this a different approach? Well, we're going to go into that, but I want to say to you, first of all, if you've ever felt that starting a new piece can be overwhelming or confusing, or that if you feel that starting a new piece every time is like you're starting from scratch, this is not your fault, okay? We just have to get some of the jigsaw pieces in on your shapes knowledge and things, and it will honestly help, okay? Again and again, I've seen this help for me and for others. If you've ever felt that your fingers or your brain just can't do something, this also isn't true. Again, you know, I want you to put those fears to rest. You can do it. We just need to find the right path and gently guide ourselves and find someone to maybe to guide us too. We need to be kind to our inner child for gentle guidance and or externally to have that to help us figure out and to help you figure out your own unique way to play beautifully and comfortably. Something I say again and again in the harp school is we want to play beautiful music and we want to be comfortable while we are doing it. There is not one way, and you're going to see why I feel so passionately about that as we go through, okay? And people may have told you that you or made you feel like you need a fancy degree from some famous music school or to be born gifted as a musician to master, you know, our skills on the harp. And I want to also tell you that that is not true. We all have our own reasons, don't we, and history and past that have created our mindset. But this one is not true. Playing music is for everyone to enjoy fully and not just for the elite. So I don't mind, I embracing all ages, all abilities, all styles. Okay, making beautiful music, a simple tune, a one line played on the harp with our heart and soul in that moment, playing beautifully, can be so much more moving than a flashy virtuoso piece being played at 100 miles an hour, which can be impressive, but may not have that emotional connection. So music is for everyone and to enjoy fully, not just for the elite. And so that's what I feel I'm here for now on this planet, really. I wish to help everybody to sort of achieve their dreams of playing confidently, to being relaxed when you're playing, to be happy while you're playing. And I literally love finding out what it is that everybody needs to achieve that goal. So what is my goal from this web class? Well, I want, and you can let me know if you think any of this rings true for you. I want to help any people here who want to make anything feel easy to learn. Do you want to make anything feel easy to learn? Yes, I'm sure that's a yes from everyone. I want to help anyone who wants to improve the efficiency of their practice. Anybody want to improve the efficiency of your practice? Yes, I'm sure you do. And we all are always looking for that, aren't we, I think. And I want to help anyone who wants to glitch fix and problem solve tricky moments in just minutes, when we can spot the shapes or we can improvise our way out of something, then we can really get out of problems very fast. I want to help anyone who fears that they're wasting their practice time working on the wrong thing or in the wrong way. This will give you sort of a really sort of concise and sort of similar method every time you're working that you can go to. Does that sound good? I hope it does. I also want to help those who are teaching to teach other musicians in this way, because it was a long time down my teaching path before I kind of got here. And again, anything that will help our students when you're teaching, we just want to help our students the best, don't we? So if you like these ideas, you can take them and use them. Does that sound good? I hope it does. And I want to show that every musician can benefit from this method, whatever your level or style of interest, okay? I am not a tunes teacher. I do teach tunes, but I love to teach concepts. I love to teach you to be able to play any tune, not just a tune. So it does not matter which genre you're interested in, okay? These are kind of across the board sweeping things that will help us in whatever we're doing. And for those of you who stay till the end, and I know some of you may have these already, but if you haven't, I'm going to be sharing with you the 12 Flourishing Shapes practice guides and flashcards. And again, I've had a lot of students find these very useful. And the more that you use these, have them by your stand, then you will find that they're going to help you with your 3 strands of building, whichever ones are, you're feeling, need a little bit of extra help. And also they'll help you find those shapes easier. Okay. So before we really delve in, I just wanted to say, can I have your attention? I know that in particular, those of you who are live and if you're watching replay, I actually can't see you. So you might be multitasking. I do it too. Okay. But if you're really serious about reading, improvising and or memorizing with ease, I really promise you this method can revolutionize the way you're approaching learning your pieces to help you play anything on the harp. So I recommend switching off your social media and emails or any other distractions, only because I know what I'm like, and maybe you're much more disciplined than I, but it might be worth just turning those off. So my name is Shelley Fairplay, and I live in South Wales in the UK. I'm deeply passionate about the harp and sharing harp music to make it kind of more accessible for everybody, different ages, different styles, just whether people want to play or whether they want to listen. I'm just all about trying to make it accessible. So you can see me here, I'm playing at some graduation ceremonies for Cardiff University. You can see I get some far reach sometimes on social media. I've played at harp festivals. I've played on radio. I have had the Harpist for a Day project that runs, which I'm very proud of as well, where we get people to play the harp in the morning and learn and then perform in the evening in a concert straight up. Here I am at a harp launch, actually playing to demo the harp. I've worked with the wonderful Deborah Henson-Collins, which you'll hear a little bit more about later. I've run my own harp festivals for, I think I've done 10 or 11 of these now at the Botanic Garden of Wales. I went to Hong Kong to play at the World Harp Congress a few years back. I've got the online harp school, very passionate about electric harp. So I love being part of the Wild Strings Festival that was held in the UK a few years back. And I love this poster here. It's such an honor to be among these wonderful harpists here, where it says to build a Kamak electric legend. So lots of other wonderful harpists on there. And I have some CDs out as well. So you can see I work with pedal harp, I work with Celtic harp, I work with electric harp, and some music publications too, including the Modes Wheel in the Modes Reloaded book, which seems to be one of my most popular publications. So I have 2 music degrees. So as well as being passionate about playing solo and arranging and writing and coaching and ensemble leading, pre all of that, I did my studies. I did up to a grade 8 in music. I then did a degree in music at Cardiff University. I did a master's at the Royal Welsh College of Music and Drama. I then qualified to be a fully qualified school teacher, and you'll see why I feel that's been so important in my own journey and also then in my students' journey. And I've done a teaching diploma from the Royal School of Music as well. So all these things have sort of helped me get to where I am now. But more importantly, I've had a bit of a journey, and I want to share that with you. I want to share with you where I came from for 2 reasons. So you can get a perspective on where this kind of whole approach, the 3 strands approach, the flourishing shapes and everything has come from. But secondly, hopefully it will help you take it more seriously, because in my story, I think there are a number of lessons that might help you shortcut your playing. So let's do this. I'm nothing special, okay? Was a totally average harp student. You can see me there, aged 9, trying a pedal harp at a harp event or somebody else's harp, I don't even know, but I do remember that moment I touched that pedal harp, that moment of complete and utter rapture and connectivity, which I'm sure you all feel with your harps, right? That moment when you try a harp that you completely fall in love with. Yeah, I hope so. Okay, so I'm going to turn off the screen share here now and do it without the screen share, because you don't want to constantly see words. But yeah, so I was nothing special, okay? And I used to be reduced to terror when I was asked to improvise or memorize music or sight read a piece of music. This doesn't sound good, does it? So I could, learn to play from the written sheet music. If I studied it and worked at it, worked really hard, did lots and lots and lots of hours of practice on the harp, reading the music, glued to the music. And you might think that I'm talking about my life pre-university. Sadly, I'm not. Okay, I'm talking about how I felt post 2 classical music degrees. Not much for a musician, hey? So before I move on, has anyone here ever felt this? Has anybody ever felt terror at being asked to improvise in public? You can put something in the Q&A area if you're here live, or you can just tell the screen if you're watching the replay. Have you ever been terrified of being asked to play without the music? Like maybe even just a harp event and the teacher says, right, turn your sheets over, we're going to do it by ear now. Or maybe sight reading in public has sent you to terror. So anybody with me? Okay, so I'm getting in yes all the time. This is my big goal for the year, to build the other strands. Yes. Okay, so I'm not alone. And I fear that I know this is true, really. Whilst I would love it not to be true and it to have just been my journey, I know that there are others of us out there, maybe you, who have felt this. So these are the 3 strands I'm talking about, aren't they? That terror being able to improvise, terror, the idea of playing without score, the fear of having to sight read in public. Okay, so how are we going to build on these 3 strands? Okay, so this is what we're going to go on to talk about. But this is the sad thing, and this is totally honest, and I'm sure it's an overshare, but I don't care. I 100% believe that I was just too stupid to be able to do it. not as clever or as able or maybe even as deserving as other people. I basically gave up playing the harp at this point in my life. It did coincide with the wrist injury, and I'm sure those two things were linked, but a big part of it was that I left music college believing I was just too stupid to be able to do it. Can anybody relate to this? Has anybody ever else felt this way? I really hope not, but I'm just going to watch the chat. I won't read out your name, and actually this is private because you're Q&Aing to me. So if anyone's here live, you want to share, have you ever felt this? Maybe a few of you have, I don't know. But if you haven't, I hope you haven't. And if you have, I still want to, of course, save you from this path if I possibly can. So and moving on from that slightly sad admission, I want, as you know, I want to share with you, and you know, and you can probably see, I still love playing the harp, okay? And I love teaching the harp, I love talking about harps, and I love looking at harps, I love everything about harps, okay? And so what happened, okay? Well, I've already mentioned this briefly, but one major game-changing thing that happened to me was that I took a postgraduate degree in school teaching, not harp teaching, in school teaching. And as part of that course, I studied the different learning styles of different people, which was something that I'd thus far been unaware of, okay? And I also studied how to provisionally use differentiation for students. So to sort of work out their learning styles or to offer a variety of ways into a topic so that you're not just saying, here's the topic, and this is the way that works for me to learn it, but you're kind of looking at that and going, okay, so these students might need this, these students need this, these students need this. This was brilliant, of course, for finessing my teaching. With an unexpected benefit for me as someone who had struggled on and off in my learning years, okay, was that I was finally able to discover and accept my own unique learning style, okay? And this was massive. And my biggest take home from this was the obvious fact that there is not one way to learn, but many ways to learn. And those of you in my harp school know I say it a lot, there are many roads that lead to Rome, okay? There are many ways we can get to where we want to be. And if we're being told that there is only one, let's look outside that box. Let's look for the other roads, guys, okay? And so from here on in, I was able to seek what I truly needed to fill out the missing links in my knowledge, my ability, and my self-belief when playing the harp. And this is the concept you've heard me talk about, some of you before, perhaps, of the jigsaw puzzle. You have a jigsaw puzzle, you might have nearly all of it, but if you've got a few missing pieces, the picture isn't there, and it's a struggle, okay? So I was finally equipped with what I needed. And so I went on a big kind of searching for all the missing links, I guess. And another and this was the second major game changer for me, was that I opened my eyes and ears. I explored and observed our incredible harp world community around the globe, and I delighted, and I always have done actually, but I really got deep into seeking the knowledge from elite players in so many different genres: Celtic, pop, jazz, Paraguayan, everything I could find, okay? And it was fascinating, as during this journey, I once again saw that there was not only one way to learn, not only one way to play, but many roads that lead to Rome, that lead to Rome, okay? So, you know, fingers down, thumbs up, this is the approach that I teach, okay? But what about the Paraguayan harpists? You know, and it completely blew my mind initially, but, you know, these incredible players and performers playing using different approaches. And searching out so many different approaches and seeing how well they all work together took away the fear of doing things right. Have you ever felt that fear of needing to do things right? I expect some of you have. Give me a yes in the Q&A if you're live. Give me a nod if you're just watching the replay. So instead, I was seeking many ways and then picking out what worked for me. And more importantly, I think, for each individual student that I was working with at the time, it completely changed the way I was going to teach. And a final mention needs to go to, as part of my journey, was that I found myself halfway around the world in a mentorship harp lesson with Deborah Henson-Conant, she will be known to many of you. If she is not, please go and check her out, okay, Deborah Henson-Conant. And she was able to convince me, probably in under 20 minutes, I think it was about the time, that I could memorize and play without music. This is something I had never been able to do for over 20 years of playing the harp. I was glued to the dots. I was terrified the stand would be knocked over. I was terrified that all these things would happen. She convinced me in about 20 minutes that I could. And I went home from this lesson, and within 2 months I was up on stage performing 2-part concerts free from sheet music. I would laugh that I didn't have to carry the music stand. And I believe there was a whole bunch of reasons that she helped me make this shift. But underlyingly, my take home was that I just had to find any way in that worked for me. And at that moment in time, it was actually understanding the harmonic movement and visually memorizing that on the strings. Again, shape work. The start of shape work, in fact. And Deborah also gave me acceptance that it might take me ages, but that was okay. Has anybody here ever worried, if you're watching the replay or live, have you ever worried that something's taking you ages? Well, that's okay. Nobody minds how we get there. We just want to get them make beautiful music and be comfortable while we are doing it. It's okay. And finally, I believed I wasn't stupid. And this was totally, totally life-changing, okay? And after these major changes in my outlook, I was finally able to experience the benefits of ideas I'd been taught years back. It's like it unlocked all these doors to me. I was like, okay, well, it doesn't work if you do it like that, but can you do it like this? And I'd never been able to implement in my playing loads of things. And my confidence at working by ear, memorizing, improvising, and sight reading rocketed. And I started to see these connections everywhere in all genres. And one of my favorite game changers of all is what I now call the 12 flourishing shapes. So realizing, and we're going to work on this in a moment on our harps, if you have your harp, if you could visually recognize on the harp the way that a shape looks, visually on the music, recognize what a shape looks like, physically memorize it in your hand, and orally recognize them as well, even better, then it helped me musically when improvising, the speed of sight reading, the confidence when memorizing, and also technique-wise for placing in the hover phase. Those of you that worked with me before, hover, land, squeeze, play, relax, that hover phase of preparing the shape before you land. And here's the very best part of all. When I started sharing these ideas, along with others, of course, then other harpists started seeing new positive results too. And you've seen some of those little testimonials already tonight on this replay, if you're watching the replay. So I'm going to go back to screen sharing. So just give me a moment and it should pop back up on the screen. If you're watching live, perhaps you could just kindly reassure me that you are seeing that said screen share. Can you see the screen share? Let's see. Yes, got it. Brilliant. Awesome. Good stuff. Okay, so it became a frustrated feeling to me that I could only reach a small number of students. So that were local. I love reaching out to my local students, but anyone I was meeting at gigs or at harp festivals or workshops, I wasn't able to share a deeper knowledge of these ideas and help move forwards. And this is one of the reasons that I created the Fair Play Online Harp School. So it started out as Start Harp and then moved into, there are short courses, there are 6-week courses, 12-week courses, hour-and-a-half courses, and then year-long classes. So it's now a fully fledged online harp school. And many have gone through working on the 3 strands and the flourishing shapes with great success. I am proud of you all. And in a moment, I'm going to show you how all the 3 strands benefit from the shapes method, which is one of my totally favorite concepts. And I'm going to share that with you for free. And I am sure this is going to help you get results in your playing if you stick at it. Before we do, imagine what it will be like. And honestly, if you work on these 12 shapes, it will help you with these things. Imagine what it'd be like when you can sit down and learn a new piece and be confidently equipped with practice ideas that are going to help you thrive. These are ideas of looking for shapes, finding shapes, naming shapes, playing shapes with your eyes shut, all these different ways we can use shapes. Imagine what it would be like when your ear can hear with ease how a melody is moving. Now, you may already be very good at doing this, but if you're not, you may be okay at finding things going down and going up. But imagine if your hand and your ear are sort of working as a team and finding the shapes that you need. It's an incredible feeling. Okay, imagine you can sight read with minimal effort, relying on the autopilot and all that previous experience to help you thrive. Again, this may be your superpower. If it isn't, again, identifying the strands and then your hand on autopilot, finding them, finding the shapes from the visual, from the music onto your hand, it will happen. It will join up. It's incredible. Imagine you can take the lead sheet or a full piece of music and your hand will automatically land on notes that are going to sound great if you're improvising with minimal thought. And imagine what it will be like if you can memorize and confidently play a piece from memory, relying on your audio memory, muscle memory, and visual memory, all working on autopilot. Does this sound good? Yes, even seeing it, I'm thinking, yes, it's such a change for me. So are you ready to get into this? Give me a yes live if you are here live. Give me a thumbs up if you're watching the replay. Are you ready to get into this? Yes, 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 we are. We're ready to do this. Okay, so secret number 1, how memorizing just a few simple shapes on the harp will allow you to unlock your ability to play with ease. How? Okay, how is it going to do that? Well, most people believe that reading music or memorizing or improvising, which I refer to as those three strands, are different skills, right? I think that we probably all agree that we think of them as very distinct ways of learning and working. And I believe, well, actually, our poll at the beginning of this session when it went out live told us absolutely up front from the group of people that are here, most people find one or two of these skills easier than others, right? Hopefully this all sounds familiar. But what if by learning these Fair Play Shapes method, you could improve your confidence and sound in these three skills of playing even more without the need to work on them as a separate skill? So again, what I'm trying to say here is that rather than thinking, right, okay, I can read music, but I want to improvise. What about if we think, I can read music, what are the shapes that I'm using on the music and how can I then use them for improvisation? And this works in each way we could look at it, okay? Boom! I have no idea why I'm using a sports picture here. I'm the least into sports you could ever imagine, but it doesn't matter. There's the home goal or no goal, a net. I don't even know what I'm saying. Anyway, never mind. It's a good thing. Boom. If we learn these shapes visually, physically, and theoretically, an astonishing change can happen in our playing, okay? The written music starts to feel effortless to sight read because our eyes see those shapes. We need to learn to see them melodic, ascending, so going like a pattern going up, a pattern descending, going down, and as block chords. We want to recognize them. I played the same three notes, didn't I, in those three different ways. We're going to be working on getting our eyes to see that instantly so that our hands can move on autopilot to the correct strings. You don't have to read all the notes anymore. This is a big deal, big game changer for me as well, is that, you know, instead of having a sort of scramble looking at the notes, if you can see the shapes, you're only having to read maybe one note to find four. You may have to read the lowest or the highest, and the shape recognition and muscle memory looks after the rest on autopilot. This is amazing news for those of us who are not speedy at reading ledger lines. I've written there as well. I am not great at reading ledger lines, but I can always find one because my hand will land on the shape. Working from lead sheets, your hands can be more creative at using inversion chords and patterns. Isn't that great? So instead of being stuck on your, you know, oh, it's a C chord, I'll play my C, G, you know, you'll be able to move through the inversions easily because your hand will be just doing it without having to engage even to think about music theory. Your hand, if it knows the shapes, you can literally jump over, leapfrog over having to think about it theoretically even. When memorizing the music, visual, physical, and theoretical on autopilot, once again, it will come in to assist if you're trying to memorize, okay? Instead of an endless stream of single notes, you can be thinking, okay, I'm moving between my root shape and my seventh shape, whatever it might be. I used to find it impossible. And it's been that, realizing all that has been a big game changer for me. And for improvisation, again, the visual, physical, and theoretical autopilot of the same shape will form the foundations for improvisation. And this is particularly powerful when improvising over a chord structure where the shapes can be used to place on top of safe notes, is something I've talked about in the harp school. And then you can embellish to your heart's content. If it's just if you've got those easy to sound good notes or those safe notes, then you can just springboard off them. Okay, it just gives you a place to come home to, if you like, when you're improvising. So, and finally, I want to say on this that using shapes and muscle memory is a historically proven path as well, isn't it? So think of our famous blind harpists, and you know, you can make beautiful music whether you can see the strings, whether the lighting's bad, or whether we need different glasses for different things, you know. But if you can find the shapes, that's no longer a challenge. You can play with your eyes shut. Okay, you can even get muscle memory to find the positioning on the harp. It doesn't take that long to even get that going. Okay. So when we're improvising, we might be relying on strategies based perhaps on our past experiences. So certainly, you know, people will learn patterns to do, won't they? And maybe your musical ear, your theory, your chord knowledge, and your scale patterns. But when we add in this solid shape knowledge to what we're doing, it really helps it become so much easier. You get faster group placing, so no more picking out single notes with finger two. Does anybody find they do that? I've seen some people go into thumb mode when they're improvising, or some into finger two. Anybody here who's live do that? I know that I've been guilty of that, or go into random fingering. But once you get into this shapes work, it doesn't happen anymore. You group place even when you're improvising. You have confidence that the notes are going to have fit and sound good, and then you can add those extra notes for your interest. And that power of certainty when landing on the strings reduces buzzing. Does anybody here find they buzz? Give me I buzz or a yes in the chats if you ever find you buzz. I think we probably all do if we really admit to ourselves, do we? Let's have a look. Yes, buzz. Okay, buzz. Yeah, I buzz. Okay, good. So it's not just me then. But it will, the power of certainty helps us get rid of a lot of those buzzes, and it improves our tone, okay, because we're placing well in a good secure position rather than fumbling around. How can you do this for yourself? Well, here are some little ideas you can take away to try. Okay, so take an easy piece with a single melody line. It could be written out or something you know by ear. See if you can identify shapes that your hand is placing on and see if they relate to the 12 flourishing shapes. You will find them everywhere. So what do I mean? In a minute, when you see some of these written out, you'll be like, oh, okay, but I'm talking about things like, for instance, the triad chord, which we tend to know quite early on in our playing. You know, you will find that there are lots of them that appear in the music. They might be ascending, descending, they might be block chords. They're there all the time. And if we start to identify them early on in our practice methods, it saves a lot of time. So it's a really good way of shortcutting your practice time and making sure you're focused. Look at the piece with block chords and identify, again, look at, a piece with block chords, the stacked notes, and identify where you can see the 12 shapes. And again, they are there all the time. Find a piece with wild ledger lines, so really high ones or really low ones, and look for shapes and place your hands on them and think of the shape stemming from the easiest note to read. So for instance, if it was a high one, you know, look at the lowest note and think what's the shape between the lowest finger and that highest ledger line, and your hand will start to find it. You no longer have to be able to read each note, even at speed, which is brilliant. Okay, and once you've memorized these 12 shapes and the 2 note intervals, if you don't already know your 2 note interval shapes, I can send you, you can email me and I can send you, I've got a special set of flashcards on those too. But once they're in your muscle memory, visual memory, and on the music scores, your confidence in everything is going to soar. Okay. As I have said already, I can now memorize 2-part concert using this method, and it has been life-changing for me, totally life-changing. And you can see that for all the 3 strands, reading, memorizing, and improvising, they can be strengthened and mastered by this Flourishing Shapes method. And knowing the 3 strands, big moment here, everyone, if you've switched off and you're multitasking, I'm sure you're not, but if you have, if you can do the 3 strands, which you use the Flourishing Shapes to strengthen, then performing becomes so much easier because you have not one superpower anymore, you've nurtured all 3. If you are reading music and maybe you make a slip, you can improvise your way out of it. If you are, maybe you are improvising and you kind of lose your place or what's going on, you will find that your muscle memory will kick in to help you. If you're trying to learn something or pick up something by ear, again, the muscle memory will save you, or the shapes memory will save you. They all interlink, these 3 strands. The power of being able to improvise, play by ear, and read music together is huge. 3 strands, everyone, and 12 shapes. So here are the 12 flourishing shapes written out. They're here in treble clef, they're here in bass clef. You do not need to be able to read them right now. You're going to get this in the handout, okay? I have some slightly controversial names for a few of the shapes, okay? Here's the important thing to remember when you're working with these shapes on your own. I am not talking about you knowing exactly which chord it is from my harmony theoretical point of view. Don't get me wrong, I love all that stuff, okay? But in this instance, I am only interested in you working on the muscle memory shapes and the visual shapes, so that, you know, if you can tie it all together, great, but you don't have to, okay? So when you see some of these names, you can think, okay, because it's the one here where I talk about second inversion, 7th chords with only 3 notes that can sometimes grate a bit, but it's just about knowing these shapes, okay? And we're going to cover more in a moment, but hopefully you're excited. Is anybody excited here about this idea? I'm still seeing buzz feeds coming in on the chat here, but is anybody excited about this? I hope you are. I know I am. Okay. The secret number 2, we're going to play in a moment, is that how, regardless of skill level, this same method can help boost your confidence by 100%. I have seen this work for beginners who embrace this early on. I've seen them thrive really fast. For intermediate players who've jumped in and tried this, I have seen, you know, getting into the idea and trying it and it helping, you know, boost you and zoom you along. And I was a professional that found this method and this idea and concepts, and it's completely changed my life, both, you know, in every aspect really of my playing. Okay, so whatever your level, do jump in and it will start happening for you. As I say, immediately fledglings, you'll help grow in confidence. It'll help you get rid of buzzes. It'll help you minimize buzzes, not get rid of, minimize. Okay, I can't promise to get rid of buzzes, minimize. And it will help the 3 strands playing easier. Intermediate players, it will empower you in the 3 strands from your superpower to your struggles. Advanced players, if you're doing this already, but you realize how much is on autopilot, you're going to be able to tap into that. You're going to be able to harness that superpower and build on it, okay, and use it in all the 3 strands. It's helped students who couldn't place. Anybody here find placing tricky? You know, getting all groups of 4 fingers down. Anybody here find this hard? Yes, perhaps. Demetrius just said shape practice is really helpful. Good to know. Yes, thank you. Yep, so about placing, somebody's just said, someone else said, okay. It's helped students who couldn't improvise. Anybody here who can't improvise? You know, I've seen it help time and time again as well. It's helped students who couldn't play by ear. I was in this category too. It's helped students who couldn't memorize. So if you want to be able to pick up music, learn from the dots or by, you know, ear and then remember it and perform it. And it's helped students who couldn't sight read, big time. You know, if you really learn to see these shapes, you don't have to read every note anymore. And I know it can help you flourish, okay? From fledgling to advanced, it's a proven path now. I know it works. Okay, so let's try it on the harps. Okay, so we're going to look at a shape. Okay, this is one of the flourishing shapes. I'm not going to go into theory at all. So if you have your harp with you, could you find with finger 3, put finger 3 onto a D for me, okay? Put finger 2 onto the F and put thumb onto the G. If you don't read, I'm playing the octave above middle C and I'm starting on the D there. So the one above the red, and I've got the D and then the black note or the blue if your harp's got a blue string, the F and then the G. Okay, there's one of our shapes, okay? Just play it for a moment, a few times in your own time. Try playing it as a block chord like this. Try playing it as an ascending little melodic pattern. In your own time, just do this. And try descending, okay? This is one of the 3-note 7th shapes, okay, that I talk about. Okay, brilliant. And we're going to try another one now, okay? We're going to try the second one here. We're going to play, looking at where I'm circling on the screen, a C and an E and a G. This time, I'm sure that you are familiar with this shape if you've been playing for a little while at least. Not only playing it, but could you try closing your eyes and just feeling what your thinking about how your hand feels placed. Think about that play 1, miss 1, play 1, miss 1 feeling. We're on C with finger 3, 2 on E and thumb on G. How does it feel? And can you just try finding those all over your harp as well? It's the same shape. So true. So try playing C, E, and G. And if you're feeling like it, you can try the shape going up as well. It's the same shape, but different notes. That play 1, miss the string, play a string, miss the string approach. You can try up, down. Okay, 2 shapes. Okay, there we are. Just 2 of the 12 shapes there. We're now going to look at this music that's on the screen. Okay, so it sounds like this, okay? It's in 3, so I'll just play it to you once. 1, 2, 3, 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and... Okay, so it sounds like that. Let's have a look at what that means then for our placing. Look, this first note's a G. We're going to put the thumb on the G. Okay, if you don't read, doesn't matter. Put your thumb on the G, 2 octaves above middle C, this one here. Really high, I can't sing that note. Okay, and then we're going to put 2 on an F, this F here, which is the F below the G you've just placed, and then finger 3 on the D below. Okay, what do you notice now? Hopefully you notice that it is the same as the shape, the flourishing shape we did up there, okay? So if we saw this, instead of thinking, right, I've got a G and a G and an F and a D, your hand and your eyes, you want to get to a point where you can recognize that as a shape that you land on, all of those strings, okay? Because then once you're there, you play it, and then it actually repeats, look. We do the same thing twice, okay? So let's try it together. I'll count you in 1, 2, and we'll start on 3, and then you're going to play G, G, F, D, G, F, D, the first flourishing shape that we tried out, okay? Here we go then. After I'll give you 1, 2, we come in on 3 because we've got this note on beat 3. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3. You're grabbing that shape, aren't you? Okay. And you can just practice it as a block chord. You can play the G on its own, play the block chord of the next bar, play a block chord for the next bar. And that is a really smart way to practice. You know, I said I wanted to offer you a way of really sort of zooming in on your practice and being efficient instead of playing single notes. And guys, those of you that are fancy players, you know, who can do many, many notes, this is the same concept. You just have to widen it out, okay? But, you know, find the shape and practice it as a block, because then playing it, landing is that hovering and landing is usually one of the bigger challenges for us as harpists. Once we're on the strings, we can play them. So practicing that. And then you'll find you can play it faster. And what's this second one here? This second shape. Oh, look, it's the same shape as we did up there. It's the C, E, and G. It's just an octave higher. So if you put your 3 on the C again, 2 on the E, and thumb on the G, there's that shape, okay? Now, those of you who this is super easy for, just think about this concept, okay? Think about it, you know, whether it's, you know, as I say, big floaty chords or the dominant seventh flourish. It's still that idea. You can learn to see the shapes and place the shapes, not worry about every single note. You're working on doing that. So that's reading, but what about if we were improvising this? Okay, what would we do if we were improvising this? Well, imagine we were using this as a lead sheet and we wanted to improvise over a G, make a G7. I'm not going into theory tonight, okay? But if we wanted to play a G7th chord, we could play a G note in the bass. So you can take your left hand if you like and play a single G, or you can play an octave. If you know your theory, you can play a G7th chord, or you can start being fancy if you like and do all sorts. But a single G is great, okay? It's perfect for what we want to try. Now I want you to think, okay, G7, and Shelley's taught, I'm telling you, okay, that this shape that we did a minute ago are now the safe notes, okay? This is a 7th chord shape, and these 3 notes, that D, that F, and that G, are going to sound okay over a G7 chord. So listen, if I went like it's going to sound okay. It's not the most inspired improvisation, but they are safe notes. There's a shape that my hand can land on. If I see it says G7, I can think, okay, thumb on the tonic of the G, place that 3-note 7th shape, flourishing shape, and then my hand can do stuff on that shape. It's just there. What about if we tried it on the C? Find the C shape, the C, E, and G, the safe notes, okay? The go-to notes, the shapes, okay? What are these like for improvising with? Well, if we put a C chord underneath, again, a single note C in the left, you can put that underneath, or you can play arpeggios or whatever you want. I don't mind anything in the left, okay? But what if we use the right hand improvising on C, E, and G? Try just noodling. Add a bit of rhythm if you can. Just use those 3 notes. It's not very inspired. They're the safe notes. Once you're confident that your hand can find that shape, you can start playing around with it more, and it can start to sound more like you're doing something. And then you can start using your inversions as well. Now, I know I've whistle-stop toured you on that, but the concept is, or the idea is that you've got safe notes. If you learn the flourishing shapes, you have got go-to shapes your hand can land on. They will sound good with the underlying chord. And then you have the freedom then to springboard off and be more creative as and when you are ready. But it gives you a really solid place that is going to sound at least okay, if not lovely, hopefully lovely, but it will at least sound okay if you use these go-to shapes over the chords. It needs a bit of harmony knowledge, yes, but it all locks in together. Okay, it all stacks up, all these ideas. Finally, what about if we were going to try and use this approach for playing by ear? Have a listen to this little tune now. I think I might go back a few slides so that you can't, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Right, okay, so I'm going to play you a little tune now, okay? I guess you don't need to not see me. I will stop my video for a moment. Okay, hopefully you can still hear me. If you can't, put something in the message. Okay, so here's a little tune I'm going to play for you. Okay, I'm going to play that again. Now, if I told you that I was just using our 2 shapes that we've just worked on, okay, could you maybe, those of you who this is not your superpower, some of you will find this super easy, I know, but that's your superpower, some of you will not. If I told you I was using the C, E, and G shape, and also the D, F, and G shape, can you use that to help you? Have a listen. So I used there the C, E, and G. That was the first shape. So you can land that first shape. And then if you land the second shape to come down, that was the, well, it was actually the first shape that we did, wasn't it? But I've switched the order. But we've got the two shapes, and then it finished off going back to the C shape, which is just the 3-note triad root position shape, okay? I'm not going into all the technical terms tonight, but those of you who know them, you can use that to help you. So instead of then having to memorize, for instance, that as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 or 11 notes, instead you can be thinking C chord or 3-note triad shape going up, 7th 3-note coming down, and then triad coming back up. And you don't, and your muscle memory can then land the 3 shapes instead of having to remember individually as well. And if you get really into this, you'll start to actually be able to hear these chords as well. And then it just starts to happen without you even understanding how. I sometimes just think, how am I able to do this? And it's because these things all come together. So there we are. We've tried that on our harps. And my confidence in all these 3 strands, sight reading, improvising, and playing by ear and memorizing, has rocketed since these shapes became autopilot for me. And I've seen it work for other students over and over as well. And this has definitely led to more exciting opportunities moving forwards in my life and in others. And I've put this in because at the moment of recording this, just the night before to giving this webinar, an email came into my inbox from the Somerset Harp Festival, and I'm flying out to America in 2023 to teach and perform and even do an add-on day at the Somerset Harp Festival. And I'm so excited about that. This opportunity would not have happened for me if I hadn't have had these huge shifts in my mindset and these huge shifts in my concepts and the people I've met like Deborah and like Edmar and many other people around the globe. And if I hadn't have taught you guys as well and really been able to see how empowering this is, working in the 3 strands and using the 12 shapes to do that. Okay, so it sounded Christmassy, the tune, did it? Okay, must be the influence of the time of year I recorded this. Okay, and yeah, and I'm really excited about that opportunity, and I'm really excited about lots of other things happening and going on for me, and I'm excited for you guys too. Okay, so it really helps finding and unlocking these doors, creating certainty, being able to make beautiful music and be comfortable while we are doing it, working in the 3 strands. Okay, and that's the power of secret number 2. Okay. Regardless of skill level, it will help boost your confidence by 100%. That's what I've written there. I believe that to be true. It's been true for me and true for others. Don't forget, I'm going to give you this sheet so you've got it and can work on it in your own time. I've given you a whistle-stop tour. Secret number 3. Even if you only have a little time to practice, I'm going to give you 2 hacks that are going to help you get results on this quickly. Yes, it's kind of also a lifetime of work. Everything is, isn't it, in music? That's the beauty of it. But some of these are going to help you fast in on getting started with this for sure. So if you're ever short of time to practice, here they are. You don't even need your harp. I love a non-harp practice is really powerful, by the way. We can air harp our shapes. So just for 5 minutes a day, I've had people get results doing this, okay? Really engage with the space between your fingers when you're doing these 12 shapes. You're thinking about, you know, where your thumbs are, your fingers are, and then relax your hand back to the default position, you know, however you play. I talk about that handlebars idea, don't I? And the hands being sort of almost into the palm, but not quite. And you can use the overview sheet of flashcards that I'm giving you in this webinar to help you practice it. It's going to help your muscle memory, your group placing confidence, and relating the visual shapes to the music score, okay? It's going to help remove overwhelm, which is a win, right? I hope it is. I'm sure it's a win. So let's try it together now. We're going to look at these 3 on the left-hand side of the screen first. We've done this shape already tonight and during this webinar. You may be watching it in the morning or the afternoon, of course. Okay, so I want you to imagine, not playing the harp, I want you to imagine you're playing that C triad, C, E, G. You're not close together with your fingers, are you? They are spaced out. Think about how it feels, okay? And then imagine doing a block chord. So I can count you 1, 2, 3, 4, play the chord. You can do it both hands if you like. Now I want you to imagine what it feels like if you're going to ascend that shape. So here we go. I'm circling again on the screen, the next one down. It's the same shape, but we're going to do 3, then 2, then 1. We are air harping our shapes, okay? So really think about it. Don't just sort of put the hand there and think that's kind of right. Really think about it. You can even check yourself. If you've got your harp there, pop your hand on. Can it do it? Okay, has it actually got that shape? If it hasn't, tweak it and find out, you know, look, you know, was I a bit too close together? What was it? You know, you can check in. Now we're going to air harp going up. Just give it a go. And then in your own time, the final one at the bottom of that row, that column, you can come down the strings as well, thinking G, E, C, thinking that muscle memory on the shape. Then look, we're going to use on the middle column. Is that the right word? Yes, column. We are going to now use the inversion shape, one of the 7 3-note shapes that I talk about in the Flourishing Shape flashcards, which you'll see in the handout. We're going to imagine we're on D, F, and G, but it doesn't matter where it is. You could be anywhere on the harp. It's the shape that matters. It's not the pitches. It's the shape. It's one of the amazing things about harps, okay? Shape is the same, whether it's F sharp, C sharp, D flat, whatever. Doesn't make a difference, okay? Try it as an air harp. Try block chords. Try it going up. Try it going down. And then last but not least, we're going to try this one here, 4 fingers on, G, B, C, E. Check it on your harp. It's what I refer to as the butterfly shape as well. Okay, so fingers close together in the middle and then spaced out either side. What does it look like? What does it feel like? Relax your hand again, find it again, check it again if you've got your harp next to you. Imagine playing as a block chord. Imagine ascending it. Imagine descending it. If you go through the 12 shapes and you do this, it's going to help you all the recognition, like as we've talked about, okay? Okay, here's another one. So hack 2, use the 12 Flourishing Shapes flashcards, which you're going to get at the end of the webinar, to play the matching game. Okay, shuffle your deck, put them into groups, and then put them where the block chords, the ascending pattern and the descending pattern of the shape are all matching, okay? And you should end up with 12 piles, each with 3 cards in. Let me show you what I mean. Let's have a look at this, and I would like answers on a postcard, please. Okay, so on this screen now, you should be able to see A, B, C, D, E, and F, okay? They all pair up. Can you find the pairs and put them in the Q&A? If you're doing this in a replay, can you just, write them down and you can check your answers in a minute. But you're looking for where there are 2 shapes that would be the same physical feeling on the harp for us, and when we actually land, okay? Because we're placing in groups, we're placing these shapes, okay? Where do they match? So for instance, is A the same shape as B? Or is there an extra note? Hopefully that's quite a giveaway on that one. Or is C the same shape as B? That felt very different to my hand. And let's see if anyone's going to give me some answers. So I've got A and E as a match has come in from Maria. So A coming down, we've got this. And then we've also got the block chord of E. Yes, the same shape. Great pattern spotting. Anybody else going to give me some answers? Lots of A and E's. A and E, right. I've also got C and F matching. Let's have a look. So C, we've got this B, C, E, G. Okay, and then F. Yes, brilliant. Okay, so they're the same shape. They look different, but as far as our muscle memory, our visual, and everything that we can work on, they are the same. And has anybody got the final pair? And you can work it out anyway now from the others. Okay, yeah, B and D, yes. Okay, so we have going up. Da, 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 da. And then we have the block chord version of it here at D. Marvelous, brilliant, fantastic. So those are 2 ways that you can work on your shapes and work on, which will help you work on your 3 strands as well, and strengthen the one that you feel needs the most strengthening, okay? And I really wish you the very best of luck with it. So here is what we have covered today. We've covered how memorizing just a few simple shapes on the harp can allow you to unlock your ability to play with the 3 strands with ease, remembering that most of us have a superpower and we have 2 other strands that I encourage you to nurture, because when you play with a 3 strands approach, I haven't said this in the webinar yet, think of the plait. 1 strand, quite a weak strand. You can snap a string that's 1 strand. Once you've got the plait, it is very hard to break. If you think of it in that way, you can become a very confident musician playing in different environments and performing, because you have the 3 strands at your fingertips that you can go to as and when you need them. Number 2, we've talked about how regardless of skill level, the same method can help boost our confidence by 100%. I've seen it for fledglings right through to advanced players, okay? And even if you only have a little time to practice, I've given you those 2 most powerful hacks, I believe, that can help you get those results quickly, okay? So hopefully, give me a yes in the chat if this is true. You now believe me. Do you now believe me, okay? That the 12 Flourishing Shapes can help you thrive in all 3 strands of playing. Yes, says Betsy. Yes, says Kristen. Yes, says Kimberly. Yes, says Maddie. Yes, it's amazing, says Jane. Woohoo! Yes, says Demetria. Yes, says Brenda. And Jane has already used these, so that's brilliant. Jilly, yes, for sure. Yes, and now I need to find those flashcards. They are coming, don't you worry. Okay, and we've also discussed that the power of practice away from your harp is useful, meaning you can implement this and gain the benefits, even if you can only spare 5 minutes a day when you're stuck in a traffic queue, waiting for the kettle to boil, or anything like that, okay? And hopefully I've also shown you how, whatever your level, you can use this methods to help you thrive. That is what I want for every single one of you. I want you all to thrive. So let me ask you a question. Have you enjoyed our time together thus far? I have no idea why I put this photo in. I don't know why I put that there. Anyway, to make you smile, it makes me smile. This was me pushing my harp to the gig that was the hardest gig I ever got to in my life. It was literally in the church over the road from my house, and it snowed, and we had to carry the harp over. Have you all? Anyway, moving on. So has everybody enjoyed it? Hopefully you have. I don't know where the yeses start for this. I like that photo, says Betsy. So I'm assuming the yeses after this have come in. Okay, great picture. Always enjoy learning from you. Thank you, Kimberly. So useful, brilliant, good. Okay, hopefully you have also found it valuable. Here's another question. Are you more comfortable on how to practice, memorize, and use shapes in all the 3 strands of our harp playing than you were before this webinar? Some of you have done this with me before a bit, I know, but there was a section in there tonight where I really tried to show you how exactly the same 3 shapes can be useful and appear in our improvising, with our improvising hat on, with our reading hat on, and with our playing by ear hat on. Very valuable, so useful, brilliant, fantastic, fantastic. Okay, and have you come up with some ideas, this is a trickier one, that you already feel excited about implementing into your own playing life? Now, for some of you, I would love that to be this idea of looking at your written music and going through and circling out the shapes, because that has been a big game changer to people who've taken prepare, study, perform. We've done that. We've really zoomed in on that side of working on pieces, and it has been a huge game changer for people. So if you haven't already thought of a plan, maybe hopefully it's using the flashcards, doing the hacks, and maybe it's going through your written music and circling shapes. And hopefully it is fair to say that practicing and using this method will give a significant advantage over other people. You know, if you don't know this idea, it can be a real sticking point, as I've hopefully shown you. So now you can hopefully boost improvising, memorizing, and playing by ear. And hopefully you are happy that you watched this webinar today. Are you happy you came to spend this session? I do hope so. Brilliant. Okay, you can take what I shared with you. There are some questions coming in. I will stay for Q&A afterwards. I'm just going to finish the webinar as is, okay? You can take what I've shared with you today and use this to change your playing for the better. I really believe that, and I've got the confidence that even just after this short time together, even if you've never worked with me before, that these concepts, if you you can take them away understanding this is a way that can help you. Adding to that though, if that was the only option, it would be a worthy one to pursue alone. But adding to that, I would also now like to say, what if there was another option, an option that allowed me to serve you at the highest level? So I'm talking about a chance here to go in more depth together than we can in this one short webinar, okay? So connecting together just this once isn't, of course, always going to be enough. It might be, but what if I can help you? What if I have more responsibility to your success? If I have more of an obligation to help you get the results that you desire, and also that I believe, well, this is something I believe you and every harpist deserves, really, is to get the results that you desire, okay? This is my next question. If I had that option, would you like to hear more about it and what it might do for you? That is why, with great pleasure, I would like to introduce you, those who haven't already done this, to the Fair Play Harp School. There are many classes in the Fair Play Harp School, and the full year Coach and Connect program, which really is the course I've now made that serves to the absolute highest level I can. So the concepts and methods I've shown you today are literally only a tiny fragment. I wish that you could see the chat and that I could get some of the students that have worked with me on this to comment publicly on this, but it doesn't even make a dent in what I want to share with you, okay? It's a huge concept, but there's lots and lots of other work we can do. So in Coach and Connect, the classes, the program offers extensive support. It's all about learning to thrive rather than survive. It's about shining a light on what you can do. It's about empowering you to problem solve yourself with ease. It's this whole kind of play any tune, not me teaching you a tune. I do that too, but I'm more interested in teaching you to play any tune. And it's working within a highly supported community. Guys, those of you who are in Coaching Connect, I love you all, working with you all. I love how you work together. It's amazing, okay? I want you, we gain the skills to approach the new music challenges with confidence, and it's a joyful place to explore the incredible and diverse world that we have of harp playing. If you are interested in finding out more about Coaching Connect, then you are welcome to book a harp chat call with me. And what we do in the harp chat calls is we just hang out for a bit and we talk about where you are, where you want to be, where you and how you might get there, okay? And we just find out whether it's a good fit, the program is a good fit for you at this moment in time. And you can see here Felicity talking about the school and sort of saying things. She challenges us to be braver, to celebrate our high points, and to name anything we've struggled with each week. And she says, without a doubt, she's gained confidence, technical ability, and wide-ranging repertoire over the past months. I absolutely loving the year and excited to see what happens next few months. And here's another quote here as well. Shelley makes a difference in the lives of people around the world who happen to play the harp. She's energetic, patient, encouraging teacher who creates a welcoming, positive and nurturing environment. Immerse yourself as a full year student and soak in the beautiful music, practice tips, feedback, encouragement, and come away with new friendships, confidence and skills to enjoy for a lifetime. Judy, that's beautiful. And here Kim has said Coaching Connect has totally transformed my learning path, and that is just one sentence that's so powerful. Thank you, Kim. I'm so delighted for you. I truly am. So students in the Fair Play Harp School are endlessly wowing me by improving because they don't let gaps in their foundation knowledge bring them down. We find them, we find the missing jigsaw pieces, we work out together. What is your learning? What is it you need to learn it? There are certain live sessions we do where I'm like, it's incredible, you get 12 different ways into the same thing. It's amazing working with you, and I'm so proud of you all, okay? And it's not just for students, this is also classes for educators, for professionals, and for graduates starting out. There's loads and loads of information across the harp school and loads of ways that can support you on your individual projects, whether it's that you are wanting to arrange or perform or write, whatever it is. It isn't just, well, I shouldn't say isn't just, it is also the huge wealth of working on, you know, our foundation techniques, which are so very important. It's basically for anyone who's committed to moving forwards joyfully. This is a key word from my harp school, joyfully, right? With our harp playing and thriving. So you have a choice, guys. You can do this on your own, and you definitely can, and hopefully use these ideas to conquer every roadblock as it comes. Or I'm inviting you to have this opportunity to have me by your side this year and help you find a path that works for you to blast those roadblocks like a rocket and accelerate your success faster than we ever can on our own. We all need a guide. I have guides in my life. I have coaches in my life. And if you can let me help you, I've already been through this path. I want to help you thrive rather than just survive with your playing. Okay. And if you are already, then that's great. I'm not going to go through this. We can talk about it on the harp chat if you're interested, okay? But just in very brief, you get every single, when you join Coaching Connect, you get every single one of my courses, because I run a lot of single courses. You might prefer to take a single class. There are options from 90 minutes, 6 weeks, 12 weeks, full year, okay? There are loads and loads of options to find what suits for you. You get, but if you join Coaching Connect, you get a replay of everything I've ever taught. There are huge archives, okay? You get access to the dial-in sessions, which have been one of the biggest game changers, I think, for those in the class. I find them useful too. We also have a practice diary that we work on each week. We have a progress matrix so we can keep track of where we're going. We also have you have a clickable link thing which gives you all the videos through the harp school. We have a practice club with harp surgery, which I really love every week, where we meet up and everybody comes in and they can practice in the quiet room, they can practice in the performance room, they can ask questions on really tiny things that are causing troubles, like, you know, my finger buzzes when I move this note down. Some of them are really tiny things, some of them are huge concepts. And we have harp social time, which is also really valuable, that kind of knowing you're not alone, having the community, very powerful. So I know I've given you one of my favorite hacks today, and I've told you about one of my favorite concepts as well, this 3 strands one, but it really only scratches the surface of what I'd love to share with you. And the best way I now feel I can serve online is through Coaching Connect, to be online or offline, to be honest. So if you want to chat about it, I will now put it up in so that you can see it, but it'll come out on the replay too. If you want to book now, I do only have a few places for the one-to-one chats because of my schedule, but if you book them now, then you will get one, because there are definitely some still showing on the website. So it's, if you go to calendly.com/harpist/15, and then you will get it. I've tried my very, and this is that web address is going to be on the next slide, so you can just look if you want to and copy that down. I've tried my very best to put together a package that will over-deliver. I try to over-deliver so that you get everything that you need, and the students constantly help me adapt and build the Harp School as well. So if you come in, you will get things added if you need them for your own personal journey. This system of the 3 strands and the 12 shapes has transformed myself and others, okay? I'm not kidding on that. It's really been powerful. So it's up to you now. I would love you to come and jump in and take Coaching Connect, or of course not jump in. And either way, I really wish you all the very, very, very best with your harp playing. And it's been great to connect with you. Thanks for watching this. Book the call right now, and I will only make an offer for you to join if you are a good fit, so we can check that out together. Last of all, because I can see that I've gone over my hour, if I taught you one-to-one for an hour a week for a year, I wouldn't be able to teach you even an eighth of what I provide in Coaching Connect, okay? And the crazy thing of all as well is that you can't revisit the material again from those one-to-one lessons unless you pay for another lesson. When you're in the programs, any of the classes on the Harp School, you can watch again and again and again until you get the idea if you need to. Imagine if you could flourish at your current level right now. Would it be worth it? Yes, it would. Imagine if doing these 3 strands and 12 shapes enabled you to improve on all of this, on all of your reading, your improvising, your playing by ear. Would it be worth it? Yes, it would. If it enabled you to feel more confident approaching any new musical piece in any situation, would it be worth it? I hope you're saying yes, it would. If it enables you to improve your technique and enrich the diversity of beautiful tones you can create on your harp, would it be worth it? I hope so. And if it enabled you to find like-minded harp friends around the globe, would it be worth it to you? For many of us, it is. It's so powerful. It's so powerful. The results will come faster than you think. When people join, they usually find that they have a surge in particular at the beginning, and then we work through all the little missing jigsaw pieces and make sure you have everything you need. I will also, there's a 30-day money back guarantee on all my courses, okay? So if you are interested, please book that chat. And if you want to book it while there are spaces, that would be amazing too, because I can't add any more in for the next week at least. So please book soon so that you get one of those slots. And I love this. It's so lovely of Beatrice here. Shelley's been the most positive teacher I've ever come across, and I therefore took a lot more on board than I have ever done before. This is something I can empathize with. Sometimes we can find that we have a connection. It's easier to take things on board there. So that's amazing too. And the spiral learning that's mentioned here is another really powerful thing. They're revisiting, they're accepting imperfect completion, and just all very powerful and all very strong themes in the harp, in the Harp School. So finally, here is your free 12 Flourishing Shapes flashcards handout. And for those of you who stuck around, thank you very much. This is how you can get it. You need this link. I'm going to pop it into the chat as well in a moment. So it's startharp.com, product, Flourishing Harp Shapes. I'm sure I had a better link than that. Never mind. I will put it in the chat in a minute, and it will come out on the replay email too. So don't worry if you missed that. Remember to book your call. And if you would like to stick around and ask me any questions as the formal part of this webinar ends, please stick around. I will answer anything at all you want to ask me, okay? There are some lovely messages here from students at the Harp School. A kind and gentle approach, giving students feedback. There's lots of chances for you to have that one-to-one time as well within the group, but I give you feedback on you actually being on your harp and playing online if you want to. And we have all those wonderful connections. There's Elizabeth. Any questions? Book the chat and I will tell you more. So I'm going to stop the share, and I'm going to make sure that you can see the links that you need. Thank you so much, everybody who has stuck around. If you stuck to the end, it's been a delight to talk to you tonight, and I hope that you feel ready to leap into the next 12 months with these extra ideas that you can work on, and I hope that you will enjoy the flashcards as well. You can see the link there now in the chat. please grab them. And there's the link there, which is the chat one as well, and then there is the one that is the Flourishing Shapes. Okay, so the top one, Calendly, is to book an appointment, and the second one is to get your Flourishing Shapes cards. Thank you so much, everybody. I really look forward to working with you this year. Please keep your eyes out for the announcement for the Dynamic Harps Virtual Ensemble as well. There's a very, very big announcement coming out about that in the next few days. Thank you, everyone.